my name is Soumia Ghazouani and I am working as a property developer in the city of Gothenburg. Originally, I'm from France, and I guess you will hear it during this presentation. I'm going to talk about Masthuggskajen, that is a big ongoing project in the city of Gothenburg. Masthuggskajen in Swedish, it means the quay where we shop masts for ships. So it has a long history that has to do with the ship production and retail, international retail. I will begin the presentation with a very big scale, and then I will focus more specifically on our project in Masthuggskajen and give some examples of things we are doing to develop the area in a sustainable way. Gothenburg, the second largest city in Sweden, it's located on the west coast, and it has about half a million inhabitants in the city proper, and about 1 million inhabitants in the metropolitan area. It's located in the mouth of the river, Göta älv, and it has helped the city to grow in significance as a trading and industrial city. The port of Gothenburg is now the largest port in the Nordic countries. As a result of Masthuggskajen, it's the whole city center of Gothenburg that will grow and shift westward. Here is Masthuggskajen, as you can see. Today, Masthuggskajen consists of paved surfaces and older buildings. The area is surrounded by a major traffic barrier that is like a motorway. So there's a lot of challenges here to develop this new area. However, Masthuggskajen also has very great values in the form of the proximity to the water, and even mixed functions for many different people, good public transport, and a very central location in the city. The area has also developed a very strong culture life and environment. The evening and the nightlife has a very relaxed and alternative atmosphere, with a large and varied range of restaurants, of bars and cafes. It's really the part of Gothenburg that you visit when you want to have a drink with friends in the evening. So it's a very, very nice quality that we have in the area. Masthuggskajen, the big project, is part of what we call the River City Gothenburg. So it's all the central Gothenburg along the river, Göta älv. It's a major areas of the city that are waiting to be transformed into vibrant and attractive inner city. So after 2 years of an extensive dialogue and brainstorming that was involving local residents and representative of municipalities and administrations, even companies, industry and academia, came out a vision of how we would like the river city to develop in the future. And it has been leading to a vision for the whole this development process. And it's this vision that we used when we have been developing Masthuggskajen. So there is three very big focus areas that are: first, we need to connect the city, and it's also a lot about connect the city with the two reefs of Gothenburg, because we have this very large river that is a barrier. There was also another thing that came out. It was we want to embrace the water. As you saw in the Google image, there's a lot of water in Gothenburg, but along the water today we have a lot of infrastructure, like we have a lot of motorways and industrial ports that were, of course, made to develop the city in the past. And now today we are looking for a contact to the city, to the river for the citizens. The third area is to reinforce the center and make it grow and become stronger. When we have been developing the area Mastix Cayenne, we agreed about a vision on how we want to do it, and that's what is here that I'm going to read. Mastix Cayenne is a permissive place that has always had the soul close to the world. With pulse and cultural dynamics, the area continues to be a stimulating place with international impressions that bind the city together, a place where it is easy to live and work sustainably, and where you can come as you are and be who you want to be. Here, you can help create a new history. Mastix Cayenne is created by the city of Gothenburg and a consortium consisting of different private developers like Balder, Elof Hansson Fastigheter, NCC, Riksbyggen, and Stena Fastigheter. The consortium has been involved in all the zoning process that began around 2014, and we are still meeting a lot to make this project come out from the ground now, together with the city of Gothenburg. Here you can see the district, how it looks like today, like the river and the big motorway and very large parking areas that are very central in Gothenburg, but parking. So it's not a very good way to use those central quarters. And tomorrow, it will be a completely new district with high buildings, very high density compared to what we had before. From a district that was made for cars, we will go to a discrete district that is made for people. Here you can see the master plan of Mastix Cayenne, and the goal with this project is to create a vibrant district that will be a complement to the existent one. And we want also to create a 15-minute city. And how do we try to reach those goals? We will build 50% housing and 50% workplaces. There will also be a hotel that brings tourists and even tourists to the area. Amenities on the ground floor, parks. There is 2 parks, one here and one over there. That will be also new meeting points in the area. There are also fewer parking spaces, but much more and larger bike garages, carpools, membership and access to pod taxis. The area has been really designed to put the focus on people walking, bike traffic, and also on the proximity to the tram and buses. Here you have a very big station of trams that will be very important for the one living and working in Mastix Cayenne. There is still parking for cars, but they are located in different areas here, over there, and in the west part of Mastix Cayenne. And it's the city of Gothenburg that will take care of those infrastructure, and the number of places that car parking that are created for this area are much lower than what we used to do in the development, in city development in Gothenburg. Mastix Cayenne is also like Sweden's first urban development project to be awarded a City Lab certification. It's a third-part certification to assess the sustainability of a community, and it has been developed in Sweden. It's a Swedish method that is made for a bigger project like Mastix Cayenne. So we are working with 9 different sustainable areas that are the identity to create a cohesive city, interaction for a good urban and living environment, and we want also to promote sustainable lifestyles. And for this, there is different goals. So there is 9 goals that you can see here that you can read. I'm thinking now that I will talk more specifically on our project that we are developing, NCC. So we're developing a first that is called Våghuset. So it's a second one called Brick Studios, and a third one that is the quarter E2 that has no name still. So it's office buildings that we do develop in the area. We work with CityLab that I mentioned before to assess and rate and certify the sustainability of the area, Maastricht-Cayenne, and we also work with BREEAM to assess, rate, and certify still the sustainability of the building. So with CityLab, we watch a lot what's happening between the buildings, and not just think about what's happening inside our houses. And BREEAM is really much focused on the construction in itself. So they complete each other very well in that way. So one of the goals in Maastricht-Cayenne is that at Maastricht-Cayenne, you can come as you are and be who you want to be. And the strength lies in the contrast. And how in our project did we try to achieve this goal? In Maastricht-Cayenne, we work with a very large variation of architecture, scale, design, and materials to create a very stimulated district. So in Brick Studios, we chose to work with the yellow brick that is very characteristic for Gothenburg's architecture. And the traditional brick line technology inspired the shape of the building. We have the low part of the Brick Studios project has another architecture that is a sheet metal facade that is very similar to the containers that you can meet in the harbor of Gothenburg. And the last building is Våghuset. It's like the wave house. And here the design is inspired by the place and its history. So it's the living water surface on the Göta River, but also the iron wave that existed on the site during the 19th century. Here we have some pictures of how it will look like in the future, and of the street of Mästhamnsgatan. That will be a street for people walking, pedestrians. And we work a lot with creating life in the ground floor of the buildings, because it's this ground floor that is actually the most important. That's what you see when you walk in the street. Working also a lot with the lighting. So it's also to increase the, the safety in the area, that if you have a light designed building, it feels a bit safer when you walk in the streets in the night, for example. And you also have, like, if you have restaurants that are open at the night, it also creates that it will not be an empty street in the future, but like a city street with a lot of people passing by. So we're working, as I said, with the lighting in Våghuset to emphasize the architecture, and even in Brick Studios. We will also give place to art, and it will be on the building that has a sheet metal facade in Brick Studios, and we are thinking about invite local artists to spray graffiti on the facade, and it will be located on the ground floor. And we do think that it will be really nice to have it in this new area, because today we have quite a lot of graffiti in the area, and it's graffiti that will unfortunately disappear when the new Maastricht-Cayenne will grow up. So I think about can give them a place. And instead of giving a place to graffiti in the building, we're thinking that the best place for graffiti is on a facade. And the best thing also with graffiti is to have it also alive, that you can invite artists today to spray on the facade and again in 2 years and in 4 years, because graffiti is not something that is made to last forever, but it's something that is more alive. So we do think that it can be really interesting. The second goal, all Gothenburgers must, regardless of social background, want to visit and be able to visit Maastrichtskaien. We do work a lot with the flexibility on the ground floor to create opportunities for adaptation to different functions. So it's a lot about how do you form the ground floor to be able to have different kind of of actors that can develop something in this ground floor. It can be maybe a bakery today, and it can be a flower shop tomorrow, or a restaurant in 10 years. So it's very important to create this flexibility. We work also with something that we call square meter value. And that's all about when you develop a new area, it's very difficult for many actors to pay the high rents. For when you develop a new area, very often the prices rise for the rent, and it makes a selection of who can have an activity in this area. And here we decided that we have a local in Brick Studios that will be for an actor that cannot pay so high rent levels. Here it's still Maastrichtskaien, but the whole Maastrichtskaien, because we also work with all the other actors in the area to create this vibrant district. And to create this vibrant district is very important with what you have in the ground floor. What kind of actors do you have in the ground floor? Where will you have the restaurants? Where will you have the shops? And where do you think it would be great to have more culture, for example? And for this, we took a master plan for all the area to think about it together, to not compete with each other and have something that will not work because the neighbor has think for exactly the same thing in the other building beside. So this is very important in our process. We have a group for it, and we meet every month and look after this master plan and update each other about what do we think we will have in our different projects. And I think it's really important to have it. And it's quite unique in Maastrichtskaien that we work in that way. At Maastrichtskaien, people, regardless of differences, want to meet and stay outdoors during all seasons and times in the day. We have a very high density in Maastrichtskaien, so there is no possibility to have a lot of green areas. But in our project, we have the possibility to have a very big roof terrace. And this roof terrace is about 1,200 square meters. So for us, it was very important to use it for real, this roof terrace. And to have it so green, it's possible to have. So we are working to create good recreation areas on the terrace, but also urban farming. And we have been initiating discussions with the urban farmer that would like to have an activity on this terrace. And there is a co-design process here where we try to design the terrace for it to be very good for our tenants in the house, that they can use it as a recreation, but also very good for a farmer that want to have a commercial activity on this terrace. So here there's really interesting discussions that we are having. And actually it was my last slide, and I show a last picture of a street in Maastrichtskaien that is called Masthamnsgatan, and the vision we do have for it, to have so many people in the street walking here. and creating a life, and feel as we have been doing something for people and not anymore for cars. Thank you very much.